My name is Kyla Hunter, and I am a senior in high school, and I am also a Marvel fanatic. I have my partner in crime with me, my dad.
What's up?
So you can introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Marcus Hunter. I'm Kyla's dad, and I'm a nerd. I'm a grown nerd.
Imagine being a grown nerd.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good. I don't mind being a grown nerd.
Yeah.
I appreciate my nerdism. Is that a word?
Yeah, I guess. Now, to start off, if you have not seen Captain America, The First Avenger, or Disney Plus's original series, What If, I highly recommend that you click off and go watch that and then come back. Or don't, if you're a rebel. It's up to you. But I recommend that you watch it. It's pretty good.
Spoilers ahead if you don't watch it.
Now, what we're going to talk about today is the Disney Plus original series called What If. What If is essentially a show that documents a small change could change the course of history, also known as the butterfly effect. I love the butterfly effect. I always thought it was cool. I'm pretty sure you watched the movie on the butterfly effect.
Oh yeah, the movie with Ashton Kutcher in it. Yeah, I was a big fan of the butterfly effect movie. It was kind of creepy though. It had some weird parts. Yeah, it was a good movie though.
So in What If, takes you back to the scenes of Captain America, the First Avenger, and this line that normally people would overlook changes the course of history.
Yeah, so pretty much, up until this point in the show, What If, everything's the same that has happened in Captain America, the First Avenger. They kind of skip over a lot of parts. They skip over his introduction and him and Bucky, or him getting jumped by some guys in the back alley. They kind of skip over all that stuff and move ahead to where they're actually training for the war, where he's already been recruited. He's already a part of this program. So they skip a lot of the early stuff in the movie because if you've seen the movie, everything in the movie that happened up until that point is exactly like it would have happened in the movie.
Essentially. And it comes up to this point where this dude named Dr. Abraham Erskine, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's okay. He is the original creator of the super soldier serum. And he asked, Agent Carter, don't you think you'd be more comfortable in the booth? This one question changed the course of history because Agent Carter says no and decides not to stay in the booth.
That's the moment.
It has to be now.
That created a whole new hero.
Yeah, she didn't stay in the booth, and because she didn't go in the booth, no one went in the booth. Because in the movie, she went in the booth, and all the other observers, they went in the booth along with her. And in this new timeline, because she decided not to go in the booth, no one went in the booth, which really had a big effect on the events moving forward after that. I mean, it changed everything.
Yeah, and they were attacked, right?
Yeah, so she did not go in the booth, and so the Hydra agent who had infiltrated, he was down there on the ground with them, and so he set off his bomb.
Oh, also Steve Rogers ran out the thing for some reason. I thought that was stupid, but
I mean, he was trying to protect Peggy, because she was already in love with Peggy at that point. So Steve Rogers was like, yo, my girl's out here, even though I'm 5'5", 130 pounds soaking wet, I gotta hop out of here and act like I can do something. And then he got shot.
I feel like Peggy could have defended herself, but that's just me. She could have.
She could have, but.
And so Peggy went into I don't even know what it was called, the machine that essentially made Steve Rogers buff in the original timeline. And she got injected with the super soldier serum, and she came out all buff and tall, like Steve Rogers previously did, and she became Captain Carter.
Yeah, and what was so cool about that was, Colonel Flynn did not want Peggy Carter to go into the machine. First, he told Steve Rogers, Steve, get up. And he was obviously had been shot. He was too injured to get up and do anything about it. Then he tried to get Stark to do it. He tried to get Tony Stark's dad to get into it. And he was like, I'm just the buttons guy. That's all I do. I'm the buttons guy. And so he wouldn't get in it. And then that's when Peggy Carter decided she was going to get into the machine. Colonel Flynn was not having that, but Peggy Carter, she didn't care. She hopped in. And it was so cool because if you match up the sequence of events that took place in Captain America, the First Avenger, to the What If episode, it matches perfectly. Their facial expressions, the way they got injected, the way the machine closed, like all of that was exactly the same, except the only difference was who was actually inside of the machine. And then Captain Carter comes out, and she was an Amazon.
Imagine being the freaking animators having to watch that Captain America scene like a million times to get that just perfectly. So, I guess Captain Carter now goes on. She fights a bunch of bad guys. She finds out she's really good at it. Girl power. She finds out she's really good at fighting all these bad guys, and I guess the government wanted to give Steve Rogers a job. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I'm just like, why? I don't know why. I guess Steve Rogers was just persistent or something. And so Iron Man's dad ended up making Steve Rogers a sort of first classic Iron Man suit reminiscent, I guess, for Steve Rogers. And that was because of the Tesseract. And how did they get the Tesseract?
Captain Carter went and got the Tesseract.
Okay, yeah, so Captain Carter fought the guys and she got the Tesseract. Tony Stark used the Tesseract to make a original-esque Iron Man suit for Steve Rogers, so I guess Steve Rogers could be useful in some type of way.
You talked about how she was such a good fighter, and I was thinking about this. She was a trained soldier. And so when she became a super soldier, she was already a better super soldier than Steve Rogers because she was already a trained soldier. So her enhancements just made her that better of a soldier, where Steve Rogers was basically like, oh, I'm new to all of this stuff, but I have all this super strength. And so it just made him a better fighter.
Yeah, also talking about Captain Carter, she didn't wear an American style suit like Captain America.
Yeah, so this right here, this photo it's an artist rendering, but it's not the exact shield that she had on, and not the exact outfit that she had on. She had the British flag on her shield.
Yeah, Peggy is British.
Yes.
And so she was representing her country.
Because Captain Carter, after she recovered the Tesseract, she also went and she saved Bucky, and she saved that regiment that Bucky and his friends were a part of that was captured by Hydra. That was also a part of the movie, but instead of it being Steve Rogers that saved them, it was Captain Carter. So she went and saved them, and then they had to do the whole train scene. Well, remember, so Steve Rogers had the Tesseract in his Iron Man suit. It powered the Iron Man suit, unlike Tony Stark, who
had the arc reactor.
Who made the arc reactor to power his Iron Man suit. Steve Rogers had the Tesseract. And when they were in the train scene, it was this funny scene where Bucky almost fell off the train and Captain Carter grabbed him and saved him and pulled him back up, and Bucky goes, "You almost ripped off my arm." Kind of a throwback to the Winter Soldier, who is missing an arm and had the metal arm right there. But in that particular scene, the train blew up, remember, and Steve Rogers, who was in the Iron Man suit, fell, as opposed to Bucky Barnes being the one falling off of the train. And so after he fell, he was captured again by Hydra. Like Bucky was. And because there was this whole thing where Stark's dad was saying, that suit is indestructible. The suit was indestructible. He didn't die, but they were able to take the Tesseract out of it, and that's how they used the Tesseract to open up the portal that brought that octopus kind of character in.
That was so cool and so weird at the same time. According to Gamer Revolution, that octopus thing was called the Champion of Hydra. It was an octopus monster summoned by Red Skull using the power of the Tesseract, the containment vessel for the Space Stone. If you've ever seen Avengers Infinity War, or what other movie is the Tesseract in? It's in a bunch of Thor movies too. The Space Stone It gives the power users over space. Anyone holding the space stone can create a portal from one universe to the other. So Loki did use the space stone.
That's how he got there.
Yeah, that's how Loki, he held it and he just kind of like disappeared. And then, TVA came in. Speaking of the TVA, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen WandaVision or Loki, the fact that Miss Wanda created an entire universe in her own little head because she was going through a heartbreak and the TVA didn't do anything about that, that's a little sus. Just gonna say. That is very sus that the fact that the TVA did not call on Scarlet Witch. But onto my other theory that doesn't relate to the show at all. This show at all. At the end of the series on WandaVision, Scarlet hears her children saying her name, which makes me think that at the end of Loki, when Loki created all those different dimensions, well, not Loki, technically Sylvie did that. She created all like the different multiverses. That makes me think that end credit scene happened around the time when Sylvie broke the timeline. But that's just a mini theory.
What does that have to do with?
It has nothing to do with it. I got off track so bad.
Oh, fair enough. I think that is the absolute truth, because if you play the last episode of Loki and you play the last episode of WandaVision, then the time where where the rooms were revealed is the exact same time where He Who Remains says, that's the moment where I have no idea what's going to happen moving forward.
We just crossed the threshold.
Because that's the moment that Wanda became Scarlet Witch, and now there was a power that was greater than him that he can control, and he couldn't see what was going to happen. And then when he picks up the paperweight and drops it,
he doesn't know when it's going to fall.
He doesn't know whether it's going to fall and when it's going to fall. But at that exact moment, that is the same exact moment where Agatha falls out of the sky and hits and lands on the ground. Yeah.
That's so off topic, but that's so cool.
It is. And the part that you are referring to, when she is hearing her children in the end credit scene, that is the exact moment where after Sylvie kills He Who Remains, when they show all the branches, it is that exact moment in WandaVision where you hear her children, because everything has been broken and she can now tap into the multiverse.
We need to do that. You need to do that. Just play the episode side by side. Now back to What If. So off topic. So yeah, Captain Carter defeats the octopus, but like she goes into the portal as she's defeating the octopus. And during this moment, I was like, whoa, this is like a parallel between Captain America, the First Avenger, because like he, gets frozen. Mm-hmm. And so then at the end of the show, she gets out the portal. She gets out the portal, and she says Steve Rogers, I think. And Nick Fury is there, so you can tell it's kind of present time. And he was like, that was 70 years ago. And then...
And she says, we won the war.
So she couldn't be upset about it.
But not knowing that the war was about to come, because that was right before Loki came to the portal as well.
Yeah.
So it sets up a whole new set of issues for her.
The parallels were super, super cool.
Yeah.
This episode was really, really cool. And the fact that this show kind of like opened up more theories about other shows, as we already got off topic about, was really cool and really interesting to dive into. And I think that the What If series, personally, I think that it's real events now that Loki messed up the timeline. Also, speaking of multiverses and universes in general, this makes me think of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as well, where it comes with, yes, if you haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's like one of my favorite movies, top 10, up there with The Incredibles. So, Dad, what did you think of the first episode of What If, even though we got off the topic a lot?
All right. Thoroughly impressed with the way Marvel is just continuing to expand what they're doing. I mean, it is time consuming. I'm sure it costs a lot of money to make all of these movies and to make all of these TV shows. But the fact that they're able to have so many different spin-off possibilities with an animated show is just incredible, the way that they've gone about doing it. And it is just as entertaining as the live action. The action scenes are great. The animation is great. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I understand why they did that one first, since Captain America was quote unquote the first Avenger. So they decided to start things off with this particular episode with Captain Carter. I love the animation. The voice acting was great. Some of the original actors were able to come back and voice their characters. And, you know, that was fantastic. And so I just thought it was wonderful how they did everything. What did you think about it?
I really liked it. I thought it was interesting. Definitely, the entire time I was like theorizing, my little theorizing heart. So definitely really enjoyable. I liked how they definitely tackled, people being sexist during that time, because there was a lot of sexism during that time. And Peggy, she just kind of brushed it off her shoulders, and she did that in the Agent Carter TV show that happened a while ago. And I really thought that they painted her as a really cool female character without talking about too much how she was a female character, aside from like obviously the sexism of the time, which you can't really get away from if you're talking about World War II and a woman being a super soldier in America. So I really, really like that aspect. It's just kind of refreshing to see a cool female character not be, I guess, sexualized or like thought of, or like be weak.
I do like the fact that, despite the fact that she was already Steve Rogers' size before she became Captain Carter, and after she got out of the machine, she was bigger, stronger, much stronger than he was, much bigger than he was, but yet she still had a crush on Steve Rogers.
I mean, I think they just liked each other's personalities. They vibed together, which was really cool.
Yes, and the difference in it was her telling him about the dance when she came back, but she never was able to come back. Like they kept that kind of dynamic between the two of them, the whole going out for the dance thing. They also kept the whole part about Captain Carter trying to drink some whiskey, but she couldn't feel the effects because her metabolism moves 4 times faster than anybody else's because of the super serum that she had coursing through her veins. So a lot of those little
details,
intricate details that they kept from the original one, but it was a reverse of who was saying it and who was doing those types of things. So I really did like that. It did show how children are their parents, as far as when the older Stark had the technology to build a Iron Man suit, he used the technology to build an Iron Man suit.
That was very reminiscent of Iron Man's.
And when Tony
OG
Stark
suit
finally created the small arc reactor, which had enough power to power an Iron Man suit, he built an Iron Man suit.
Yeah, I think parents. You think kids are that much like their parents? You think their kids are that much like their parents?
Just saying. I'm a nerd. You're a nerd.
I mean, I feel like I got you. No, I didn't get you. I got you into anime.
My favorite my favorite subject to study growing up in high school was whenever we would talk about the planets and the stars. I got a 100 every time because I was so interested in it. And that's an intern?
You weren't into calculus
No.
or physics, so that's different.
No, but I was into space.
Yeah, in space. Everybody's into space.
No, they're not. Some people are into dinosaurs. Some people are
Dinosaurs
into
are cool. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining our first episode. This was really fun to talk about. Lots of theories. Follow my Instagram at Kyla_Kai.Hunter and my YouTube channel, which is Kyla Hunter, and it has a little anime girl doing this.
You can follow me also on Twitter, Marcus__Hunter. On Instagram, one of my Instagrams, Marcus__Hunter. The other one is Marcus Hunter TV.